Are you jealous of her? Is that what it is? Because friend, you do not sound like you sound kind of miserable right now. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt your ego, you know? But they aren't doing it to be hateful. Um Welcome back to my podcast, UNMASK, where I connect with myself and people like me. I'ma offer a story time at some point and lessons I've learned in my life. So I've realized a lot with my podcast now that I've been trying to sound very proper. Like I've sounded a little bit artificial, and it's just very unneeded, to be honest. So today we are going to be talking about the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. And I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this because when I was going through my phase of not knowing if my friends were really my friends, they were fully claiming to be my friends, I tell you that. But they would do really weird things like use my show of expression of like love as to filling their ego, or making it seem like they were, I don't know, like I said, a lot more important in my life, or like I saw them like as I was trying to, let's keep it as they saw it as I was trying to claw up to their level, or something like that. I don't know. I don't really understand it. But during that phase of my life, I watched a lot of TED Talks and podcasts and different things on what an actual friend is, just so I can have the definition to compare. Like, okay, this is who this person is. They're claiming to be a friend, but they're doing this, and this is the textbook definition of what a friend is. I know it sounds weird. Maybe I did it a lot later in my life. Maybe I did it very early in my life. But what I've learned of being a friend 101. Okay, backtrack. Let's say how to be a friend, how to make friends. Let's do that first. So the first thing I've learned about how to make friends is to be vulnerable. You can't really build a connection if you don't have the courage to be vulnerable, to allow your raw parts of yourself to be seen, to allow the bad parts that you don't even like about yourself to be seen, to just completely be yourself. And when I say be yourself, I don't mean that when you're a bitch. Oh my gosh, that was my TV. But when I say being yourself, I don't mean like truly being, if you're a bitch to yourself, don't be a bitch to other people. It's unneeded. We really don't need it. I'm trying to tell you, we really don't. Everybody is going through their own things, and just because you're the most saddest person on the earth, or you feel like you are, doesn't give you a sign, or you feel like you've gone through the most abuse in this entire world. You haven't. Somebody has it worse. I promise you. Not to invalidate what you've been through, but you can suck it up. If you're gonna have friends in your life, you have to suck it up. Because just like you, other people have been through stuff. And chances are, if they are your friend, or you've met them at a point in life and you've built a connection, chances are they have gone through something similar to you, or around that same type of mental scope. So my advice to you would be, if you hate yourself sometimes, because we've all been there, but if you hate yourself sometimes, it's like, don't show it to others. Not to suck it. I'm like explaining this very horribly, but like, don't suck it up. But like, don't even show that part to yourself. Like, just shove all that hate. Get some boxing gloves and box it into a wall or something. Not a wall. Not a wall. Box it into like something that's boxable, you know? Whenever you feel like there's a negative comment bubbling up about yourself, the worst thing you can do is say it. Say that word out loud, because you're manifesting that into the real world. And if you don't believe in manifestation, then you're praying it into the real world, or you're just like locking it in. Let's put it at that. You're locking it in. I would give an example, but I'm not about to make hateful comments towards myself. Like I said, that is locking it in. Next. Where was I? What was I saying? Next subject. Yeah, for those hateful things that you say to yourself, just try not to project it on other people. People are going through stuff too. I forgot what the name is called, but you have to be willing to make sacrifices. I do remember what the name is called. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. Like, let's say if you want a friend and you have to pick them up, you have to drive to their house and pick them up to go on a trip to Walmart just to build that bond a little bit in y'all's daily life. And that's a sacrifice you have to make. If they're calling you at 3 a.m., hey, la 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 la, this just happened to me and I really, really need your help. Or, ah la la la, this has happened and I really, really need somebody to call to talk to. It's you as a friend. You have to be willing to make small sacrifices like that. And I'm not saying it's like you have to do it, but that's a show of love and expression for you to be able to be like, okay, I understand that my sleep is important to me. Depending on what I'm doing tomorrow, I'm making the choice to sacrifice my time. Now, being said, because you're making that choice to sacrifice your time, if it's something that they called you at 3 a.m. and it's very unimportant and it wasn't like a true emergency, then you have the right to feel some type of disrespect or to feel cross because they don't value your time. They don't value your sleep. So it's more of like a reciprocal thing. It has to matter. So things like that. And the last example I have about being a friend is, I'd say, be reciprocal, match each other's energy. There shouldn't be a friend who's the one who's always making plans. There shouldn't be a friend who's always calling one. It should be reciprocal. Y'all like each other, remember? So, oh my gosh, the worst thing you could do is use somebody to fill your ego. I use the word pathetic a lot, but that's pathetic. You can run a mile in 10 minutes and be like, I'm the fastest runner in the world to fill your ego. That's okay. But for somebody to be like, I really love and respect you. Like, I love the way you do this, and I love the way you do that. I admire that about you. And leave it at that. And the thought in your head is, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm this shit. Oh yeah. So that means that I'm a little bit better than her, or I have something other people don't that makes me really special. I know it sounds crazy, but that's generally how people think, and they're really good at masking it. So don't ever let people convince you or gaslight you out of your intuition, because if somebody is able to gaslight you out of your own intuition, they win. They win a piece of you. They win their ego being boosted, which comes at the sacrifice of your mental health. because now they don't care if you're skeptical about yourself and things related to subjects like that. They don't care. It was just that moment of their ego being filled that they were willing to sacrifice you for, and that's horrible. And then there's an acquaintance versus a friend. A lot of people surround themselves around acquaintances. A lot of people surround themselves about people who are never gonna hold them accountable. And a friend will hold you accountable. If you were talking about a girl who has no idea who you are, who is living her life separate from you, and you're fully bashing that girl and dragging that girl down, a friend is gonna look you in the face and be like, are you jealous of her? Is that what it is? Because friend, you do not sound like, you sound kind of miserable right now. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt your ego, you know? But they aren't doing it to be hateful. They're doing it so you can recognize yourself. And that's when somebody can point out something wrong, that is a form of love. It's a form of love for me. If I'm being rude, unprovoked, and I had a friend next to me saying, that was really unnecessary, like you really didn't need to do that, and I didn't have that thought for myself, then that was amazing that I had somebody in my life. Because imagine that I didn't have that thought for myself and I went about life just keep on being rude, unprovoked, keep on being rude, unprovoked, keep on being rude, unprovoked, till I got my ass whooped. What's it called? I can get my ass whooped in this world. That's what I'm trying to say. I forgot what that word is. Yeah. Because that could happen. But luckily, I had a friend who the first time I did it went, yeah, that was rude and that was unnecessary. I was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of rude. And I love my friend and she doesn't play that shit. So if I want to keep having friends, if I want to better myself in life, if I want to drop that nasty attitude, I'll have to look at myself. I'll have to look at myself and I'll have to go, yeah, I'm never gonna do that again. And if you can go and apologize to that person. That's best for accountability. But if that person's gone at this point, you can just go, that was horrible, I didn't like that side of myself, and now I can choose to change. And now I can choose to never repeat that again. And that's fine. For the rest of your life, you'll never repeat that again. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what I love about life and time, is that at some point when you are able to reflect on yourself, you can just pause and go, I want to change. I want to be different. And you can wake up the next day and be different. If you have people in your life that try to keep you at a certain timeline that you feel like you've generally outgrown and you have changed, it's either you have to confront that about them or you just have to outgrow the people as a total. If they're not willing to listen to you and accept that you're changing as a person, that is not your friend. They're trying to keep you at the same time frame as them. And you don't have to bash them, you don't have to disrespect them. You just have to have a formal conversation and be like, I'm trying to change and I feel like you're trying to keep me at this stage in life. You explain why, the examples, and you leave it at that. That's a beautiful thing. And that's love. That's friendship right there. Communication. Yeah, communication is a good thing for friendships. Being transparent to each other. If you're having a feeling and you're feeling bad, it's always okay to bring up to your friend. And if they are going to shut you down, I would say don't take it personally, but move around. Because once they keep shutting down your feelings, you're going to keep shutting down your feelings. And that's a horrible thing to do to yourself. So basically what they're doing is that every time they have a feeling, they shut it down immediately. And now they're projecting that on you. And it's not your fault. It's nothing personal. But if anything, if you see that in somebody else as a friend, again, you can confront them about that that I feel like when you do this to me, blah 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 blah, and I feel like you're projecting a little bit. And if they decide to deflect and gaslight and invalidate your feelings, then that's who they decided to be. And it's your choice if you decide to surround yourself around them people, or if you're gonna move around for better things. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Bye.